Welcome to another program in our series, Freethinking Forum. I'm Bill Weir, the producer and host, and I'm delighted to have with me today Mahad Muhammad.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you're one of three organizers of Black Freethinkers of Minnesota.
That I am.
And over 230 members already.
It's been an awesome ride for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
And you have quite a diverse program, I've noticed. I think you have a coffee even this afternoon, don't you?
We do. We have a coffee and a conversation with some of the members to come and talk and see what we've been, how everyone has been doing, to have a conversation.
And at this location, it's an open mic, so people can get up and sing or
absolutely, whatever their talent,
or whatever.
Yeah, whatever their talent is. They get up there, they read a poem, something maybe they wrote back in high school, something they've written in their kindergarten, anything they get.
So it's a way of sharing your views and your feelings with one another.
Absolutely, and being there to support one another as well.
Yes. Now, I understand you grew up in a religious family.
I have. I grew up in a two-religion household family.
Two religions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which two?
My dad was a Muslim, and my mom was a Jehovah's Witness.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, you got acquainted with both of them?
I have not been. I kind of went through, a long period of rebellion on my own as a kid, just where I didn't want to be a part of either one, and that was mainly because just my teenage years.
And well, many of us have rebelled against our parents' religion, wanting to be more secular, perhaps.
Right, absolutely. Well, and with mine, it started mostly listening to music that I wasn't supposed to, for one, because music is bad.
We've all done that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and part of it also has been just some of the details, whether it was with Jehovah's Witness or with Islam, the requirements, some of the everyday requirements.
Well, yes, my Muslim friends pray. What is it, 6 times a day?
5 times a day.
5 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I've gone to Ramadan at their invitation.
Yeah. And that's one of the things probably I really enjoyed about the hospital, just the food, just such amazing food. Considering that my parents both cooked, so.
Well, great. You got good meals from both sides.
Absolutely great meals.
Was there a great deal of pressure from your family not to come out as an atheist?
Absolutely. It was very hard because it meant that everything that I have been taught, or at least that is how my parents took, was that everything that I have been taught as a kid it was what I was pretty much abandoning. Kind of the values, the morals, everything that they've taught me. That is what it meant for them.
Well, I bet you carried some of their values with you.
I absolutely do. Do every day.
And you don't have to be in fear of God's revenge if you don't.
Absolutely. I attribute those values to them rather than a supernatural deity, and that's the difference, I think, between myself and them. Is that every day that I do good, it's because I know it's something that they've taught me, not because it's something that's inherently in me.
So, being an atheist is simply not believing in a theology of some kind.
You've said it. That's it. It's a lack of supernatural deities. That's all it means. It doesn't mean you're a better person than a Christian. It doesn't mean you're a better person than a Muslim. It doesn't mean you're a better person than someone who's uneducated. It just means you don't believe in God.
And you don't pray to God for some miracle.
Absolutely. You don't pray because you know the power to solve and the power to critically think through solving any issues or any problems comes from us.
We have to use our own power for love and justice.
Absolutely.
Are there other values that you find among Black freethinkers?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, compassion is a huge thing, and we know that doesn't come from God. It came from how we have been raised, but also I think part of how we have been marginalized as atheists, or as a black atheist. That marginalization that come from that stigma that because I have been wronged based on my belief or based on how I look. So I know what that other person is going through in terms of how they're being picked on. So compassion is a huge thing that I've picked up on. And that's something that's been personally myself has been instilled in me from my mother as a child, going from shelter to shelter where her and I volunteered as a kid. And it's something that we still do as an organization too.
And I gather that you have a real concern for homeless people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And are doing something about it.
Absolutely. And like I've said, it's a value that I've picked up on. And as our organization, Black Freethinkers, we have been volunteering with Minnesota atheists who have been volunteering at this homeless shelter in St. Paul called the Family Place once a month, and we've been doing it for the last 4 years. Every month, and we get together, we gather recipes, we go there, we cook for the family, about 50 families or so, and sit down with the families, eat with them, cook with, after we've cooked for them.
Show them respect that
Absolutely.
they deserve.
Absolutely, and we do not proselytize, we do not bring up atheism or humanism or any of that kind. We sit down and just have a meal with them, and then we clean and
hopefully they feel affirmed.
Absolutely.
And a kind of compassion.
Absolutely.
That you want to express.
Absolutely.
But this is just one of the ways in which you, as Black free thinkers, can help others.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Have you tried anything else?
Yeah, we volunteered on and off over with Women's Prison Book Project in South Minneapolis, where it's a phenomenal organization for people that are interested. It is in a small bookstore in the Seward neighborhood called Bone Shaker. Yep.
Yeah. I was very impressed by the project to help out women who are imprisoned.
Absolutely.
Get the kind of books that they want and need.
Absolutely.
To have a growth, personal growth.
Right. Right.
And I'm sure part of that is learning compassion themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what the volunteers there and the phenomenal women who lead that organization really do. So we get together basically with them and go through some of the letters that have been sent from the prisons around the country from various women wanting various different genres of books and subjects of books, and we put those together and help them mail it, and it's about 2 to 3 hours once a Sunday, basically a month. So we do that, and we've done that, and it's a phenomenal project. And
I bet there'll be other groups like yours learning from you how to do this in other states.
I hope so. I hope so. That's the plan. Is that organization, the Women's Prison Book Project, gets the volunteers that they need and the number of people that they need. That's what we're hoping for.
So, could I ask, what were your thoughts when you found the Minnesota Atheists?
It was a moment of joy, for one, because now here was an organization, and I was, in my early 20s. Here was an organization that had folks that believed in the same values that I did.
And we're not trying to push a theology on you.
Absolutely, they were not. But also had the belief that gods didn't exist, that those values didn't come from a god or gods, that they came from us humans, whether we were taught from our parents or whether we have reached some moment in our lives where we've gotten to know what those values are. And that was important to me. And those were people that did good without God. In terms of all the events that they have been involved in and the stuff that they were doing.
Good without God. As you know, that's the title of a book by the Harvard humanist chaplain.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard. I've yet to read that book. I've heard.
Yeah.
I know it's one of the logos of the local Humanist of Minnesota pamphlets. That,
Yeah,
you know,
I've
in
enjoyed
the,
getting acquainted with the author and here in Minnesota, and at some Unitarian Universalist gatherings.
Oh, nice.
But you found Minnesota atheists and felt real joy in finding others who would approach life much as you are, with a focus on compassion.
I absolutely did, and it didn't hurt that these were people that weren't so gung ho on just atheism. For the most part, although they were, is that they were also interested in building a community.
Yes.
Whether it was going out for happy hours. Who doesn't love a beer once in a while?
Right.
Or whether it was bowling, they got together, once a month. Whether it was getting together, all the geeks and nerds and meeting once a week and going, playing board games. Or like I've said, once a month where you've actually gone out of your way and you did, the food bank or the shelter, volunteering at the shelter.
Showing that you want social justice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now that organization is largely white, is it not?
It is, very true.
And so you felt a need to have black freethinkers?
Absolutely, I did.
In order to, because there is a different experience in being black in America.
Absolutely, that's very true.
So is that the main thing that led you to decide how to start a group of black atheists?
Absolutely, yeah, it was. My thinking was, that we have so many similarities, and some of our similarities have been the values that we have together as human beings, whether it's, compassion, kindness, but also outside of that, the only thing that we seemed to have anything in common was atheism. But as a black atheist, there are issues, obviously, when we're out on the streets of this country that affect us personally, that don't necessarily affect a white atheist. And those reasons, I have felt, were not being addressed by the local secular movement. So it fell upon us then to get together and show not only the secular movement that these are issues that we care about, but also the other overarching larger Christian or religious or theist movement in the state, that there are people of color who are atheists, who are sort of in between these two intersections of being an atheist and also being people of color, that have both issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I've been working on trying to solve the problems for racial justice for many years. 50 years ago, a little more, I was with Martin Luther King in Selma, Alabama.
Goodness.
And then in Jackson, Mississippi, trying to enable people who had demonstrated at a lunch counter, trying to get them out of jail.
My goodness.
There were thousands.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you for that.
I hope that is, we got the Voting Rights Act from that tremendous effort by many, many people, including some of my fellow ministers. In fact, I learned that one of the ministers, when he was released from prison, which went home, and his congregation fired him.
Wow.
So that was a terrible time, I think.
Yeah.
When people did not understand how important it is to build racial equality.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great point, and that's, I think, something that kind of partly still exists to this day in terms of the Voting Rights Act of what you've mentioned right now, where locally here alone, and that's one thing that Black Freethinkers and Humanists of Minnesota and other organizations, a coalition of organizations have been involved in locally, where 47,000 Minnesotans do not have the right to vote simply because of probationary felony, that they have been released they have jobs, they're
And
working
they're on
full times,
probation.
and they're on probation, they can't vote. And these are tax-paying
Yeah.
citizens of this country.
Well, I know in North
47,000
Dakota, as soon as one is released from a penitentiary, you can vote again.
Yeah,
But here in Minnesota, we need to change the law so
absolutely we do.
that is true here
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are there other challenges for Black atheists?
Obviously, yeah, it's one of the main challenges, and I know it's in the news quite a lot. Is just the criminal justice system, and one we've just touched on, whether it's the voting rights of folks who are released, like the 47,000 number I've just mentioned, and predominantly, those are folks who are Black, who are Latino, Latina, people of color, basically, and that's a main challenge. But also, I think the local shootings that have also happened locally,
yes.
whether it's Jamar Clark or whether it's Philando Castile, Phil Queen, so many other folks, Fong Lee, locally that have happened and haven't gotten justice. So those are some other stuff that we're
I'm
involved
glad you're
in.
working on that too.
Absolutely.
I've had a program with a professor who is recommending a change in how police are trained.
Yeah.
We may need a police academy in Minnesota
Yeah.
in order to train them properly.
Yeah.
And first of all, select ones who are suitable
Yeah.
for serving as police,
Yeah.
because not everyone can change their values.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
If
That's
they're
not an
racist
easy thing.
by if from a racist family, they may not be able to really perform as police for the whole community.
Right, absolutely, yeah. And it's hard to weed out in terms of just the general number of people that are admitted into the academy. I know the FBI came up with a statistic a long time ago where white supremacist organizations have been for a long time looking to infiltrate police academies.
Yes.
And have some of their folks go through that training and become police officers.
Well, maybe the rest of us need to focus on getting people in there that will treat everybody equally instead of the kind of racism that comes from white supremacists.
It's true. It's true.
So let's go back to what events you hold as a group of Black Freethinkers of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Is there some annual event?
Yeah, we do have some annual events that we do. Most of them are perhaps the Juneteenth. We have a table there locally here in the state where we have a table, along with the Humanists of Minnesota, who have had a table for I think last year was their first year as well. Some of the other events we do are mainly because as a new organization and having only been existed for a couple of years, and this being our second year.
Let me suggest one I just learned about today.
Yeah.
Penumbra Theater
Yeah.
will have its 40th anniversary celebration in 2017, in May.
Goodness.
And I hope you can be there.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I
Thank you for
plan to go with my sweetheart, and maybe you can be there
Thank
too,
you.
to celebrate
Yeah.
the great theater
It
that
is a
has
phenomenal
brought
theater.
a lot more understanding of what Black life is like in America.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Bellamy, and it's the one Bellamy is stepping down, and another generation is taking over.
That's awesome. That's
So-
awesome. It is a great theater.
A good time to celebrate.
Yeah, it is in a great neighborhood. A couple of other things we do just also outside of the monthly volunteer that we do at the homeless shelter is also the coffee and conversation, because as a new organization, what you want is to provide that platform, that space where people can come in and kind of get to know the organization and people behind the organization as a new organization just starting. And that's what we have been doing lately, is to trying to get to know people, to let them know, so that they can kind of also decide the push and where the organization goes. Because first and foremost, we're a space for for black non-believers and for people of color who are non-believers.
Right.
So they get to decide the space and how the organization goes.
But I gather that you're accepting white folks
Absolutely.
in who are with you.
Yeah, right, and that's
the kind of values you represent.
absolutely, and that's our second platform, is also to have the secular movement that I have been a part of, and those of us in the organization have been a part of, whether it's the Minnesota Atheists, whether it's the Humanists of Minnesota, whether it's Black Non-Believers Inc., is to invite all of those folks so that way they can be a part of the local issues that matter to the people of color atheists that are in the city. Because one, we have a commonality, and that's atheism and humanism.
Right.
But let's kind of get down into the crux of the issue and figure out and see what those communities need help with and provide that help.
Well, I think one of the key ones you mentioned earlier, those who've been released from a penitentiary but are still not permitted to vote.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, 47,000. I mean, it's an astronomical number.
It is
And
too
it's-
much.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So- I don't suppose the 230 people don't show up every time.
Right. Yeah. It's a challenge for any new organization.
Yeah.
It's even a more challenge for a minority within a minority. I think the quote. For a small percentage in number, because people of color, specifically Black folks, are a tiny percentage in Minnesota specifically, let
Well,
alone
some
in
of
the
them have
country.
2 jobs.
Right, and that's the other part, is even those who are atheists and want to come out, for one, can't come out because they have jobs, like you said, multiple jobs at times, or they can't come out because they yet don't feel comfortable that they can come out
Appearing in public.
in public
Yeah.
with an organization that is trying to be public.
Well, I looked over the list of people who signed up with Black Freethinkers, and I've recognized a number of people I know.
Sure, and that's usually the case with the local secular or free thought community here, is that you have a lot of crossover between the atheists, the humanists, the church and state separation folks. You have a crossover because we're a tiny percentage of folks just to begin with, anyways.
Well, I think everyone wants to help you be the best.
Absolutely.
And spread this excellent kind of organization to other parts of the country.
Absolutely.
There is, I think you mentioned something about being a chapter.
Yeah, that's very true. We're in the process of becoming one of the national organizations, and the national organization is Black Non-Believers Inc. It's a larger organization that has about 15 different chapters around the states, whether it's Chicago, LA.
15
smaller chapters
in various cities.
and states. Yep.
Yeah.
Milwaukee has the closest one. Chicago has one. Detroit has one. So they're all over the cities around the country, and
But none of them are really statewide.
Well, some of them are.
Really?
So like Chicago's got, I think, about 2 or 3, and they're spread out.
2 or 3 in the state.
In the state.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably in East St. Louis.
I think so. I think so. And
Yeah.
don't quote me on it, but
I've been through East St. Louis and realized there are a lot of good Black leaders there.
yeah, it's very true. It's very true.
So I guess one of my concerns is that many Black folks, knowing how firmly their families are involved in either Muslim or Christian activities, are really reluctant to. It's like giving up the family,
Oh yeah.
even though they are atheists or agnostics, not knowing whether there's a God or not.
Yeah.
So, is there something we can do to help those folks?
Any help that we offer, first and foremost, has to be under their own terms.
Right.
So they have to dictate the kind of help that they want and what is it that they need help with. So that is where it begins. It is true. And then I think the consensus is the percentage of nuns have been growing.
Oh, yeah.
Also.
It's now the largest group according to the Pew research.
Yeah.
Just last week they announced it.
Yeah, yeah. And that number
More,
just
more
is,
nuns than NONES
Yeah.
than there are Catholics.
right. And that number is going to continue to grow because people sort of are getting out of those affiliations with theism that they have.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't doubt that, huge number of that percentage are also folks who are atheists, but yet are still choosing to be nuns because of the same thing
Not
you've
active in any.
right, not active in it, or because they still maybe feel uncomfortable participating on a larger platform, being public and being open, because and I know some of the folks that we have had conversations with from our organization that we have met privately or at a coffee and a conversation have publicly, have said out that they really don't want any pictures taken. They they wouldn't go to conferences.
And I respect that.
Right, and absolutely, we do respect that.
As you know, I asked whether I could bring a camera to one of the coffees.
You did.
But I don't want to bring it if anyone feels uncomfortable with it.
Right, and that's great of you. Thank you. And that's what it is folks are still figuring it out because the family life and the cultural aspect that a lot of us are coming from are ingrained in the theist way that our parents have brought us in.
And I gather that if you give up their theology, they think you're giving up their values too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is not true.
Right. How can you have morals? How can you be a good person if you don't believe in God?
Well, I think you've found a way.
We've all found a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have about 2.5 minutes left.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to tell folks here at the table?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of the things that I would like folks to perhaps know is to continue to read and critically think about the issues that affect all of us, but specifically the issues that affect folks that are living right here in this state. Specifically the free thought community. I know a lot of folks read, Sam Harris, whether it's Richard Dawkins, and those are great learned intellectuals.
Which book would you recommend from each of them?
The books I would actually recommend are from a man and a woman named Dr. Anthony Penn and Dr. Sakivu Hutchinson. So I would like us to read books that aren't from the mainstream atheists.
Yeah.
Some of the other folks that have been around and have written a lot of books, whether it is not Baptist, I think Dr. Anthony Penn's autobiography.
P-E-N-N.
P-I-N-N.
P-I-N-N.
Yep. And
And
Dr.
Anthony is the first name.
Anthony's the first name.
So, and perhaps one author is enough to find the book.
Sure, yeah.
And then the title of the book?
Well, he's written over 30 books.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there anyone you'd recommend?
And I would recommend all of them.
Well, yes.
But one thing I would say is he's actually going to be here
Oh,
on
really?
October 15th for a conference that Black Freethinkers, the Humanists of Minnesota, FUS, the First Unitarian Universalist, the American Humanist Association, all of us are co-sponsoring a conference.
Oh, yes.
October 15th at FUS in the morning.
Unitarian Society of Minneapolis.
Yeah, 10 a.m. to 5, so Dr. Anthony Penn will be there.
Oh, good.
Sanita Sarkar, a professor from McAllister of Women's Studies, will be there. William Hart, professor of, I believe, African American and Theology from McAllister, will also be there. So there are about 5 different speakers that will be there.
And that's 900 Mount Curve.
900 Mount Curve, correct, behind the
in
Walker
the Kenwood
Arts Center.
neighborhood, just up the hill from the Walker Arts Center.
That's true. Yeah.
So, we're out of time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
So, I hope you learned a few things from
Yeah.